Light and Fast Fantasy Football Podcast, sponsored by the Lockdown Defense Network, is our weekly show that is dedicated to giving our fan base our educated opinions on the best fantasy football strategy in standard leagues, PPR, and dynasty leagues. We are not guaranteeing you will win anything by our advice, but if you do, we want our cut. Enjoy the show.
Everybody got that? Good.
To all my heavy hitters and lockdown defenders, welcome to the Light and Fast Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Defense, alongside the real AG. We are the duo that brings you the podcast to give you to that fantasy championship Light and Fast. The real AG, what's going on, good brother? How you feeling out there?
Man, doing good, Coach. Like I said backstage, pretty good week for your boy in the playoffs. So hoping to bring that positive energy to this show. A little Salt Bay magic for our viewers out there, as well as myself, for this next round here.
Absolutely. Well, I can't say the same. I was 50% in the playoffs, making the playoffs, and then I ran against the buzzsaw that is Jared Goff, the buzzsaw that is Mike Evans, which I think I alluded to on the pod last week that said it would hurt twice if Mike Evans burned us and the Chargers lost, and guess what happened? and then the Chiefs.
A little bit of foreshadowing there.
Unfortunately, for my own peril. And then the Chiefs defense, that by 4 o'clock, about 4 o'clock, about 4 o'clock time frame, I was already down like 60. So it just didn't get any progressively better than that. And literally the score by the time in the Sunday night was like 101 to like 147, and he still had 3 players.
You're like,
he still
good
had
run, boys.
Let that sink in. He had 147 points, and he still had 3 players left to go.
Just that's like that's like going against the private school, right? we just can't afford to beat these guys.
No, they got too much money over there.
They can recruit. All right.
This is not Bishop Sycamore. This is the real deal. This is good counsel.
Like, damn.
Westland Chapel, whatever Texas 5A school that got money. That's what
it up, boys.
It's not our week. It's not our week. It's not our week. We put forth a good effort though. But yes, we are the Fantasy Football Podcast to get you that championship Light and Fast, and we are in round 2 of the playoffs, week 16, on a special night. We're broadcasting live and direct 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday night as a versus our normal Wednesday night. Your boy is actually flying out tomorrow, catching a flight to go out to LA. I'm going out to LA tomorrow, and I'm taking the Chargers out on Thursday night, man. So we had to do the podcast a little early this week. So yeah, man, I'm definitely looking for a better performance this week, Chargers. I'm letting you know that now. My first visit so far will not be a somber one if I can help it.
I'm coming out there personally to see to it.
I got to see to it. If I got to stand on the sidelines and smack Jesse Minnick upside the head for calling blitzes at the wrong time, I do what I got to do.
Somehow get a hold of the OC coordinator phone.
Right.
Hey, quit running that. Who is this? Don't worry about it.
That running play. Don't run that no more. That indeed. That indeed. So yes. We definitely doing a podcast a day early, but it's going to be live and direct, and we'll get you ready for waivers tomorrow. It's going to be a hot waiver week for people that's going to be able to get in the waivers and play for another round in the playoffs. So yeah, if you had a bye like DZ, our local fantasy footballer,
or if you just want to go full scorched earth mode on everyone else and laugh your way out the door to wrap up the year.
It's just diabolical.
Hey, I mean, we consider all fantasy perspectives on the Lightning Fast show here. All right.
Just pick up all because you how the waiver wire.
Yeah, just take them all.
Take them all. Just pick up Michael Penix. Pick up.
It's like that one that meme. Yeah. It's like Miami Vice of the guys on the phone just laughing. It's like that's what you're doing. Just
right. Evil Dennis laugh. Indeed.
I mean, that's what I'm doing in a couple leagues. So.
I listen. I just peeked at the ESPN league I'm in, and it was weird because a guy won a game and he actually had Kenneth Walker in his lineup. He still won. Kenneth Walker didn't even play. I said, what kind of mess is this? I said, that man won the game without a starting running back in the playoffs.
Wild.
That is wild. So, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Survive in advance. That's the name of the game. So, yeah, man. So, we're going to get into our fantasy podcast here, get you that good advice for week 16. If you're in the playoffs, round 2, and we'll get you that, that good and bright advice that's going to get you that win and get you that victory this week. But starting off our show, as we always do, we'd like to open up with our Fantasy Football Weekly. This podcast is sponsoring a fantasy football league this year, Lightning Fast Fantasy League, and we like to do a weekly show recapping everything that happened in the week. Now we'll, give sleepers some crap real quick about them not updating their weekly standings like they normally do throughout the season. The playoff bracket doesn't get updated till tomorrow with some reason. Don't ask me why. But we got the scores for you. We got the projections for you. Who's going to play this week? So. Starting out with what happened this week, like I said, it was bad for your boy. It was bad business for me. 103 to 60, 103 to 157. Like I said, it was already over by Sunday night. I didn't have to worry about its Monday night games. It was rough. I put over normal good showing, although Derrick Henry didn't do much. It was rough. It was rough sledding for me. Mike Dub pulled out a victory on Monday night. He 101 to 96 over D-Bev. So he's advancing. So is Keith. In this consolation round, Kurt actually beat Alex in a I guess you say a
Purdy, man.
Yeah, man.
Brock Purdy, man. That's all I gotta say. Devontae finally showed up.
Right.
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy didn't do you no favors. I understand. And Cody beat Cool Kev in the consolation game as well. So looking at the standings going into next week. We got DZ at the number 1 spot. Is going to face Keith. He's the lowest seed, I believe. He's going to face him in the second round, and Mike Dub is going to face off against Josh in round 2. So that'll be an interesting matchup for fantasy purposes, and we'll get you those results next week, as always. But yeah, it should be a good another round 2, man. We are 2 weeks away from crowning our first inaugural champion, so it should be a good time. Definitely should be a good time, man. So yeah. All right, so good luck to those who are watching and watching us on replay. And let us know how you feel about it in the comments, and we'll get those results to you. See who gets to fight for that championship. All right, so get into the next segment and get into the actual fantasy football portion of the podcast. So let's get into best performers of the week. So week 15 had some repeat performers. I think we had about three repeat performers this week that have been staples practically. Couple of MVP candidates and a couple of tight ends that just seem to be catching everything from their quarterback and not sharing with anybody else. So yeah, so we got first up, we got the MVP candidate here, Mr. Josh Allen.
We're not worthy
at all,
fantasy wise.
Yes,
postseason he hadn't done anything.
Right, but, I'm not sure how the real MVP race is going to shake out, but Josh Allen's been an MVP race for fantasy right now. That's for sure. That is for sure. 41.3 this week in his matchup in a walk-off win against the Lions. It's a little bit of a woodshed trip for the Detroit Lions at home. That was interesting. Jared Goff in losing fashion, 41.3, which again was part of my demise, facing Jared Goff in the first round of the playoffs. And Lamar Jackson come through with a perfect passer rating performance practically with 36.1 in his round. I think he had 5 touchdowns in that game that he threw.
He balled.
He balled out, typical, MVP Lamar fashion. And coming off a bye, fresh and ready to go, just lighting up the scoreboard. I think Mark Andrews broke a tight end record for the Ravens in that game. So it was a good showing. Definitely a good showing. So running backs, James Conner tore up everybody, and that was in his way at 28.3 from a running back. That's amazing, especially from him. He's more of a grinder. He's not much of a big play guy, but he showed out. Jahmyr Gibbs in exercise and more exercising duty this week because David Montgomery went down with an injury in the game. 25.9, and then James Cook 25.8. They're doing back to his normal winning ways. Didn't help me out enough, but it is what it is.
But hey, he did come back.
He did come back. I just wish Derrick Henry would have joined him, and that might have gave me a little life. Yeah, but yeah. So those are your those are your quarterbacks and running backs. What about those wide receivers, Alex?
Yeah, man, wide receivers was a little bit of a blend of some repeat offenders and a guy that finally showed up in his magical pairing. Obviously, talking about Devontae Adams there.
Yeah.
Like I said, finally showing up. The New York Jets always turn into like the 2007 Patriots when they are playing a team and the win can only ruin their draft chances at a high pick, and they turn into all-stars.
Exactly.
But yeah, Devontae at 38.3. I guess nice to see that at some point in the year. Mike Evans, trying to feed him to give him that record. But yeah, dude is a dog. I'm starting to think now that Johnny Manziel wasn't even good. It was just Mike Evans.
You might be right. Might be right. With that 6'5" frame, that catch radius,
that's crazy.
Route running and speed, just throw it up to him.
Yeah, man.
Just chuck it up. He's down there somewhere.
It's wild.
Taller than everybody else. Yeah.
Him and Baker, they seem to got it figured out. Yeah, 32.4.
Yep.
Then Amon-Ra catching on a little late in his game, man. I think at halftime he had like 6 points. It was something like stupid. Where I thought he was going to screw me, and then he comes out in the second half and totally redeems himself.
I knew it.
A 30.3. Love to see that.
Yeah,
down to tight ends. Jonnu Smith back into the fold, apparently, with a 15.3.
Look at that.
We got our boy Sam Laporta finally coming back to form we saw him in last year with 14.6. And a little bit similar tone, Trey McBride coming back into the higher scoring realm with 13.2.
Yeah, picture that. The Cardinals are showing up, man. You got two guys on this list now. That's a rarity.
Yeah, neither one named Kyler. Crazy.
Or
Marvin. Marvin Harris.
How about that? Where is he? No Carton-esque.
Yeah, right.
No Carton-esque.
Dude's out, man. Should have known.
Yeah.
And then, round out my part of this little segment here. We got defenses. My Chiefs with 21. Love to see it. Just a frenzy with Jameis. Turned him back. Jameis is back. He got demoted today, which was announced. Saw that one coming. Atlanta Falcons, 20 points, which is crazy. They actually did well against a bad offense.
How about that?
Kind of blew my mind.
Right.
And then the Denver Broncos with 20 as well against the Colts in that bizarre pick six. You know what I'm talking about, where Adonai Mitchell tried to throw that?
Yes.
Did you see his interview after the fact? Where he was like, yeah, I mean, I did everything I was supposed to do on that play. And they said something to him about, well, like, do you think, like something about, but with a game with playoff implications, he went playoffs. Like he did, like literally his own team. Dude, crazy.
The irony of that, because that Jim Mora was on the Colts when he said that.
Right?
It's funny.
Playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Yes, prime time for that. That was a good one. Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking, but you didn't see Nick Benito.
I don't know what the hell he's thinking.
Right. Obviously, Adonai Mitchell was thinking. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. But yeah, he was. I don't know what he saw, but he should have saw Nick Benito lurking there. He threw the ball back late and lame, and he picked it off and took it in stride for 6. That was funny. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely saw that. That definitely helped
Taylor.
Curse. That curse, yeah. That affected 7.9 percentage of Yahoo fantasy outcomes by him.
Drop it in the chat right now. If you were personally victimized by Jonathan Taylor,
right?
We're here to know.
For you. This is a support group. We're
here for that. We might be cooking up some kind of class action too. You never know. Never know where you can get it. Don't know
glory on the pod. So
don't know until you make yourself known. All right.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So
I'm in that bubble though.
I understand. Damn. Yeah, that's rough. And the fact that if that hinged on your playoff victory or loss, that sucks. That really sucks. And it was a couple of guys cursing him out for losing bets for him because he had like a prop bet, an anytime touchdown or something like that, and he lost like $4,000. It was crazy. Crazy.
I'm telling you though, I do think that there's some components with betting that they like Vegas has the call. They make a call, make something happen.
I would not be surprised.
Like, dude, the Bills game, right? Prime example here. I don't mean to pivot off, but hey, sports betting is about to be legal in Missouri, so maybe we got to make that part of the show from this point forward. I don't know.
Right.
Anyways, Amari Cooper doesn't play in the game, right? The whole time. Gets in one play at the end of the game just so you don't have to void the bet, any bets.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know.
Dude. Just saying.
You just follow the money. You follow the money.
Who's the shooter on the grassy knoll? We don't know. But everybody need to figure out.
Everybody, their mama's got betting sites and businesses now, and the league is advertising it. So, and there's no checks and balances for referees, quote unquote, about whether they can bet or not. So, hey, who knows?
Oh yeah, what's the guy Donahue, the NBA guy?
Donahue, yeah.
He had a whole like a mob, a whole mob.
I'm saying. So we just gotta be mindful of that kind of thing. But it is what it is. So be round out the kickers for best performance. We got Chauncey McLaughlin with 18, Brandon Aubrey with 16, and got Cam Little with 15. So yeah, pretty good week for kickers. If you're Dallas, if you're Tampa Bay, yeah, I'm done. He had 18 points against us kicking welds as well. Jesus.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Jesus. Oh, just bad. Just bad. But yes, Cam Little rounding out with 15. So when you talk about the good, gotta always talk about the bad. So there's some deformed performance this week that probably ruin your playoff lives. Probably, sent you home with a paper bag on your head, just feeling like you just can't buy a fantasy football performance to save your life. So people that just make you feel like you want to tell them,
"You're killing me, Smalls."
You're killing me, Smalls. So who's doing bad this week and who probably sent you home? If you had Jameis Winston in this matchup and you match up with 2.6, you probably was sitting home on the couch with me because I'm sitting there as
prime. LASIK wore off in that game. I tell you
something, or he didn't refill his prescription. I don't know. It's something crazy. Something wrong there. But you don't know if you're seeing ghosts or what. But yeah, so he was bad. Brock Purdy was equally bad with 5 points with the matchup he had. And Tua Tagovailoa, he completely and utterly pooped the bed. It was 6.8. That was rough. I didn't expect that at all, especially the matchup he had
in a dome.
Yes. No, they were home. No, they were home in Miami. They were home. In Miami.
Never mind. Even better.
Yeah, warm weather, home Miami. Still pooped the bed. So I can't understand. I don't understand. But yeah, so they're bad, all equally bad. And Nick Chubb, who ended up breaking his foot in this game, was with 2.1 points. Najee Harris was 2.6, and then Derrick Henry, like I alluded to earlier, didn't do me no favors with 6.1. Lamar out there stealing all the glory and not giving Derrick no love. So you effectively lost him the rushing title and things of that nature because he didn't do much. So yeah, it is what it is.
It pained me to put him on the list, but it had to be done.
I understand. I understand.
It's just but yeah, the wide receivers repeat double back-to-back week offender. And but we all knew this was happening.
It was going to happen.
Well, we just got to kind of beat the, kick him while he's down, and that he just further went off of the no touchdown trend again with 1.9. Debo again, I think a back-to-back offender.
It is.
I don't know. He faced some life at this point on the thing with 3.4.
Three fellas in a row.
And a for sure touchdown that he dropped.
Oh, God. Yes.
I mean, dude, the savage thing with Debo I saw was where he tweeted like, "It's not a drop issue. We just got to get something right." And Community Notes corrected it and said he leads the team in drop passes.
See, that's what you get. See,
I was like, "Oh, buddy's done. He's gonna He's gonna end up in Jacksonville. He'll be in Jacksonville next year."
Yeah, I think he's primed to be released from his contract after this season because I think it'll be less punitive for the 49ers to do so. So that'll free up some money for them to pay Purdy possibly. So yeah, that probably will happen.
I ain't doing that. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I ain't doing that either. But that's just me.
Hey,
that's me. That's a whole different conversation for another day. But yes, I wouldn't do it either. But that's just me.
Yeah, and then rounding out receivers. Unfortunately, as we already mentioned,
Milk Carton himself.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Marvin Harrison Jr. with 4.2. Yeah, I mean, I know he's been on this list before a few times now. So, kind of like DZ said, though, yeah, you shouldn't be playing any of these receivers at this point. If you are, damn,
shame on you.
I hope you have Josh Allen and Saquon or something.
Right.
But then tight ends, we got Juwan Johnson, total polar opposite of what he did the week prior with 2.2. Tucker Kraft, who thank God I didn't need to rely on because if I did, damn, with 4.4. You know, you just never know who's going to be getting fed unless you're Romeo Dobbs and throw a bitch fit, every 4 weeks and get suspended. Then you get all the targets. Or Christian Watson, his hamstring, hurts for 8 weeks and then boom. But whatever. Next one, last tight end on the list, near and dear to my heart, but does pain me. Old Travis in his hometown. They kind of did him dirty.
It did. He spent a lot of time on this naughty list this year. I have to be honest.
Hey man, I'm holding faith for the first playoff game. Just boom, 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 boom. And then they get their title, and he's like, "I'm done.
I'm out of there. Yeah.
I'm gonna go act."
Yeah, that's it.
Should he? I don't know, but hey, more power to him.
Right, go play backup dancing with Taylor. Yeah.
And then down to the defenses, the Detroit Lions with -4, and they're just getting more and more banged up, man. Just rough. Right. I saw a graphic during their game of yeah, you're not wrong there, DZ. Thankfully I was sweating bullets watching the end of that game, but it swung in my favor.
Right.
But yeah, Detroit Lions -4. Patriots and what was supposed to be a pretty good defensive matchup for them if you're into that streaming life, -1. And then coaches Chargers, man, 1 point, tough.
It's trauma on this list for me. I just tell you, in many ways. Mike Evans, Jared Goff in the Chiefs offense on a good list, and there's Chargers defense on the bad list, along with Derrick Henry. It's a bad week. It's a bad week.
It's rough, bro.
Rough week, man. Rough week.
just double tap, dude.
Exactly. Crazy. Yes, and to round out the kickers who weren't doing nobody any favors this week, Robbie Patterson with 1, Eddie Pinheiro with 2, and Graham Gano with 2 as well. Yeah. It's almost like you should be able to get 2 points falling out of bed as a kicker, and that's just insane.
Yeah, it's like you get the 600 on the SAT for writing your damn name. Like you should get just 5 points for being a kicker alone.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You don't practice.
Your team's got to be all kinds of ass. You're getting 1 point. All right, I'm just saying.
7 different kinds of ass.
Yeah. Just rough, man.
That's funny. That is funny. But yes, so that was your naughty list, and I'm sorry they probably sent you home if you had a playoff big game last week. But if you survive like DZ did by playing Jameis Winston, more power to you. Luck of the Irish, but I'm not Irish, so you figure it out.
Yeah. Who was your QB before that, DZ? I know for a fact it wasn't Jameis. I know you're not that big of a Jameis fan.
You didn't draft him first round. Yeah. No, you didn't.
He's like, no, I just held him on the roster. Just always been a Jameis guy.
Right.
Love his jib.
Go FSU. Go Noles. Yes, indeed. Oh man. So moving on down the line. So of course, we deal each and every week with the NFL. And 99%, injury rate. Russell Wilson, the 16-man league. Ooh. Sheesh. Yeah. Yeah.
Moment of silence for our brothers out there. That's the trenches, bro. 16-man league.
A little look out for that one. Jeez.
Yeah.
Crazy. But yes. Yeah, so dealing with the 99% injury rate in the NFL, you always have injuries. So we're going to address the injuries and talk about who's banged up and who may not play and who we can replace them with. And our segment called The Replacements. So starting off with the quarterbacks, we got Patrick Mahomes, who's questionable, although he practiced full today. They're doing light practices this week, according to what Andy Reid said. They got was it 3
Well,
games?
yeah,
In
he's
12
faking
games?
it, dude. You didn't know that?
Oh, he faking it?
Well, yeah, dude. He does this every year.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's a trend now. It's a thing. I
Yeah.
know.
If you
Okay.
just check Bill's Twitter, he'll tell you he's faking.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
He just wants a Jordan flu game moment.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, technically on the list, he's questionable
Yeah.
with a high ankle sprain. So they got 3 games in 12 days, something like that. So they're taking light practices. They play on Saturday, then Christmas Day, and right back again the next week. So yeah, I'll take the light
games in 11 days.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Stupid.
That is crazy. So we'll see. I would argue that if you could probably get by without playing him on Saturday, then play him Christmas Day in a more meaningful game, that would probably be the more optimal option. Or maybe play him a little bit in the game and sit him down and let Carson Wentz finish like they did last week. Who knows? But yeah, he's banged up. So that that's a crucial one if you have Patrick Mahomes.
It's that time of year, baby.
And Geno Smith as well. He went down in this game. It looks like he's more likely not to be, although he just is questionable. He looked like he might be out. And Sam Howell might be in that game. So that's something to monitor. Running backs, you got Alvin Kamara, who's banged up. I think he might not play. He looked like he was laboring after he caught that touchdown. So I think he had a groin issue. Kenneth Walker continues to be questionable. He's been out the last 2 weeks. We're not sure when he'll be back. DeAndre Swift is also questionable, but he's been questionable when he's been playing. So that's take that what it is.
And it doesn't give you much when he does play. So
exactly. And James Conner's counterpart Trey Benson is also questionable after injury in himself in the last game. So if you have either one of those, look out for those injuries as a possibility they may not play. Since McCormick went down with ankle injury in Monday night, so I think that
he was just downgraded to doubtful right as we started.
I was going to say he's likely not going to play because the ankle injury looked pretty bad. So I would argue that he's not going to play as well. If you picked him up recently on waivers, he's probably going to be out. You have to lean towards another guy like Amir Abdullah. We'll get to that. But yeah, so and then Nick Chubb broke his foot, ironically, and in the Browns game, so he's completely out as well. So Jerome Ford's next man up on that totem pole. So yeah. So those are your quarterbacks and running backs who are going to be questionable or out. So you have to be mindful of that in your next round's matchup. So if they're in your lineup, you got to play somebody, and we'll let you know who. But moving on to the wide receivers, talk to me about these guys.
Yeah, man, George Pickens. I think things are looking good for this week. I believe the last 2 weeks he hasn't played, right? And one,
right,
at least, yeah, and one I know was a little bit of a last minute. That's cold. It's business, man. It's nothing personal. But things are looking promising. I know he practiced in some sort of limited fashion today. So I would imagine, especially with them, still needing to win some games for playoffs. Yeah, they're trying to get him back. So I think things are looking good with him. Jalen Waddle. It definitely did not look good if you saw that injury. But I think I know McDaniel said today that it was not serious, but I think it's a little too early to tell.
He's definitely week to week, in my opinion.
Yeah, and honestly, at this stage of the season, I don't know that you're really counting on him regardless.
Right.
Unfortunately. Legette, I'm not entirely sure where he's at, but I would imagine I don't think it was anything too serious.
Yeah, it's interesting because I saw a couple of people in the different leagues I was in, they dropped him already. So I think they were kind of leaning towards the idea that he might be severely questionable, but there hasn't been any determination as of yet. But he's looking like he's a 50-50 at this point.
Yeah, and I think that's the same for Curtis Samuel too. Dude, he is though, for real.
He really is.
I always see a video and it's like you'll never guess how he pronounces this word. And it'd be like it's just like what the hell did he just say?
Right.
But yeah, over to the tight ends. David Njoku's out this last game. I don't think things are looking too good for him, and it's a straight dumpster fire in Cleveland anyway.
Yeah.
So, honestly, just to give you a quick summarization here, I think all three of these guys, things are not except for one, it's pretty obvious, but the other two, things are not looking good for the close out of the season in terms of their injuries. And then obviously we got kind of the last minute week 15 news that Evan Ingram was out for the year. So that was a nice kick in the nuts to anyone who was relying on him, maybe, if you were.
Yeah, so that was weird. I'm not sure if everything was doing much for you beforehand, but definitely if you were relying on him as your tight end for whatever reason, it definitely was a slap in the face to him to be ruled out in that fashion, in that manner. But yes, I definitely agree there.
For the year, not the game, the year,
not the game. We ain't talking about the game, the whole season.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So if you have these guys, please be mindful of that. Some are 50-50, some are flat out not going to play at this point anymore this season. So if you need to make a change, here's your list. So starting with quarterbacks, we didn't get a chance because of breaking news before the show, but I would put Michael Penix Jr. at the top of this list. Quarterbacks. He is now starting for the Atlanta Falcons. They made the change this evening, right after practice and everything film was over in the Falcons facility. They decided to make a change and sit Kurt Cobain down. Good old Kurt Cobain is now sitting with $150 million in his pocket, and Michael Penix is now the starter in Atlanta. So he's number one on the list as far as pickups is concerned. Then you got Derake Maye, Drake May is an interesting pickup. Yeah, you see DZ. He's an interesting pickup for the Patriots as a backup quarterback if you need one if somebody's injured. Aaron Rodgers seemed to be putting together a couple of good wins this past couple of weeks, or good performances anyway.
Yeah.
So he's a viable option. Mac Jones seemed to be playing well for some reason in Jacksonville, better than Trevor Lawrence. Who called that one? So that's interesting. And Bryce Young as well. Yeah, exactly. Bryce Young is another viable option. He's been playing well since he's been starting. And Cooper Rush, some way, Cooper Rush had a pretty decent game last week, so he's a viable option if you're desperate, or in a 16-man league like DZ, you might need Cooper Rush to be your only option. So might be. So there's your quarterbacks for this week. If you need fill-ins or replacements for an injured or banged up guy, running backs, you got Amir Abdullah. He's new on the list because of Cecile McCormick's injury. He's back to being the main guy in the Vegas Raiders regime. We got Kendre Miller coming in for Alvin Kamara, who's likely not going to play, so he's going to be number one guy in New Orleans. Jerome Ford is going to be the number one guy in Cleveland, so he should be a viable option to pick up, and he's been pretty productive, ironically. So I like him as my number one pickup if you're going to get somebody in waivers. And Tajay Spears, although they're not doing well as a team, he's been putting up numbers somehow. So. Yeah, I would pick up Tajay Spears if you're in a deep league and you definitely need somebody to fill in running back or flex. So, those are your quarterbacks and running backs. Alex, what about these wide receivers and tight ends?
Yeah, wide receivers, kind of as I mentioned a little earlier with the little subtle jab about him, but Romeo Doubs.
Yeah, him.
Back-to-back pretty solid weeks. But again, Packers offense, it's so inconsistent. It's so hard to know which one of them is going to pop at any given time, but he at least seems to have that. He's getting the looks in the late season push. So I think that's kind of the most telling thing,
right?
If anything. And then Jalen Coker with Carolina, he's put together a few productive weeks, kind of being the Robin, if you will, to Adam Thielen's Batman, if that's even a thing for those names.
Might be a great value version of Batman and Robin, but it is.
Oh yeah, no, it'd be like I'm trying to think of what's like
Payless version, Payless version of Batman and Robin,
the Donald Duck version of Batman, whatever that.
Darkwing Duck,
the Darkwing. Yeah, but he's involved in that offense. Jalen McMillan, he's put back-to-back weeks, kind of filling the Chris Godwin shoes. But he's definitely showing some promise. Tim Patrick, kind of similar. That he's put together 2 solid weeks of. I mean, he's touchdown dependent, but he's again involved in Detroit's offense, and they know how to put up points. They know how to put up points.
They do
for sure. De'Ami Brown.
De'Ami, yes.
De'Ami Brown with Washington. I kind of last minute. Well, yeah, I guess a little last minute. Noah Brown put on the IR, so. He's probably going to step up and fill that role, whatever that is. That was kind of a fluctuating, maybe 10 targets, maybe 2 a game type setting. But
Right.
hey, I mean, again, it's a good offense, and it's one that is very pass heavy, so opportunity could be there. And then Rashad Bateman, kind of like Tim Patrick, or Dobbs, really. More like Dobbs, I'd say, because you really don't effing know with
You really
Lamar
don't.
where he's
No.
going. It could be Charlie Kohler and then Rashad Bateman and then Justice Hill. Who knows?
Who knows?
But Bateman has definitely had his weeks this year, and put up a pretty solid week this last one. Similar to Patrick, he's touchdown dependent, but if you need a replacement, he's a primo one for this week, especially.
Indeed.
Then round things out, the tight end, we got Stone Smart with the Chargers with Disley out. At least it gives you that tight end one ops in that offense.
Right.
Britton Strange stepping in for Evan Ingram and Jacksonville for whatever that's worth.
Right.
Adam Trotman in Denver, he's had some glimmers of brightness in that offense. Jawan Johnson, even though he was on the making me look bad naughty list, level 4 naughty lister.
that level.
You watch Red 1 on Prime.
That level 4,
Catch
yeah.
it now.
Shameless plug.
Sponsored? I don't know.
Go
to Prime, check it out. But he also has put up some good weeks. So I think it's kind of depending on the QB because Jake Hayner.
Ain't it? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He hated it. No. And then to round things out, Grant Calcaterra with Philadelphia, a high-powered offense, and with Goddard out, he's the next man up.
That is. All right. So there you have it. Those are replacements for the week. So get on the waiver wire tonight. Get ready for Wednesday waiver wire moments and get those guys in your lineup so you can get that victory for round 2 of the playoffs.
Or, like I said at the start of the show, unleash hell on the league.
Right. Just
take everyone down with you.
First one.
We're all going down with this ship like the orchestra on the Titanic, all right?
Indeed. The band was playing when the ship went down. That's it. That is it.
There we go.
All right. So moving on, let's talk about playoff strength of schedule. We're on week 16, so we got some interesting matchups here. So teams that have juicy matchups for the week coming up. I'm looking at Arizona going against Carolina. I see Buffalo going against New England. I see Cincinnati going against Cleveland. Unfortunately, I see Denver going against the Chargers. Okay, we can't seem to stop a cold right now, so that'll be interesting. The Chargers going against Denver may or may not be advantageous because the Chargers' offense has been stymied the last few weeks. I see Tampa Bay going against Dallas, and that mess of a whatever they got going on over there. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, and Washington going against Philly. I think that divisional matchup should be juicy for a scoreboard perspective. We've got 2 good offenses there, so I think I'd like to say that both teams will put up points. So I'll add Philly to that list as well. So, Alex, you see any other matchups on here that you feel like it might be really advantageous for good offenses this week?
I do. Yeah. Oh, do I? No. First one that kind of sticks out to me, and I'll explain why, because you're probably like, what the hell is this guy smoking? But I really like Atlanta against the Giants, mainly because I feel with the change, you're going to see a totally different offense and like a revitalized group. And what better team to go against than another dumpster fire that's honestly probably trying to lose so that they can have their pick of whatever quarterback or whoever decides that they want to play quarterback for them next year.
Right.
So I think that's a good matchup for the Falcons and their players. I'd suppose the low-hanging fruit is Green Bay against New Orleans this week.
Yeah.
I think that we just saw how they looked Sunday night, and I mean, New Orleans is damn near a JV squad at this point. So
pretty bad.
They're going to be doing pretty good.
High the draft. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, similarly, they're also trying to get their spot a little bit in the high in the draft. And then the last one I had, I think Detroit against Chicago. I mean, even with Montgomery out, I mean, Chicago's down bad. We now are getting all this, national narrative about how they're worse off than they were last year with Fields. So like it's only going to get worse for Chicago.
It really is.
Detroit's just going to straight dump on them in Soldier Field.
Yeah, it might be 50 by the third quarter.
Yeah.
Just might. So yeah. So if you got any of those players on these teams, we're looking at Arizona, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Chargers, Tampa Bay, Washington, Philly. I think you alluded to Detroit and who was the last one you had?
Atlanta, Green Bay.
Atlanta and Green Bay.
Atlanta.
So if you got anybody on those teams, they should have good weeks. They have really good and juicy matchup this week. So please play those players in your lineup, and they should definitely have a good week. All right, so moving forward with the show. So we're going to get into our league winners. We're going to reiterate our league winners post that we've been doing the last few weeks.
Yeah, wrong they were.
Yeah, well, some of them right, some wrong. So it depends on who they are. So we got guys that got really good, favorable matchups in this week, in this last 3 weeks, and they should be able to win you some games if you have them in your lineup. So to give that list down, so Baker Mayfield, who cooked up last week, and it was a master class for him against the Chargers. He did well. Got Dallas again this week. Kyler Murray's going against Carolina. Cortland Sutton going against the Chargers. He always seems to beat the Chargers up real bad. I don't know how or why that is, but that's the case. Nico Collins going against KC. He seemed, no matter who he seemed to be facing, he seemed to do well. Bucky Irvin coming back. He did well against the Chargers. He should do well against Dallas as well. Monte Stevens going against that maligned Buffalo defense. That's one thing they need to. That defense not doing.
That's what we'll see. This will be the test if it's something bad with them, or if they're just prone to give up 50 points and it's a track meet.
Pretty much, right. It's the old day Indianapolis Colts. They're just gonna beat you by scoring. Yeah. So Ramondre Stevens still on the list with a matchup against Buffalo in that defense. Chaka Conko going against Jacksonville. I mean, who doesn't score points from Jacksonville? So I think he's good. Juwan Johnson, who Green Bay seems to give up good points to tight ends. He should be a viable option. Hopefully that Jake Haener or Spencer Rattler can find him. Defenses, you got Green Bay Packers going against New Orleans, like we alluded to earlier. Tampa Bay going against Dallas, and the Colts going against the Giants. So they all got really good matchups this week. So I think that it should be definitely good for anybody that's playing those defense or these players. So if you got these guys in your lineup, or you want to stream a defense, go right ahead, and they should be good and viable for you. All right, so moving on. So this is our segment talking about the playoffs in round 2, the advice corner. So how do you survive and advance in round 2? So Alex, what is your best and brightest advice for the playoff performance this week for people that may need some coaching, may need some pushing, may need some, I guess you can say words of encouragement to get them to that championship round?
I don't know if it's really any straight coaching advice you can give. I'll call it more like counseling. Or I'll be your human Xanax for a second here. Because if you're in the second round of the playoffs, odds are your team's pretty solid. So kind of like I said last week, we don't need to go change your whole bench out for the hot commodities this week to consider playing them. You know who your key pillars are. Just make sure that those matchups are ones you're comfortable with. And let it ride, you said in Twister, if you feel it, chase it, baby.
I like it. So yes, I share those sentiments as well. I would say that the only wholesale changes you should be making is for injury.
Defense.
Injury, or if you're streamer in defense, and I like to carry 2 defenses particularly. So if I got whatever option is better for me in that week, whoever had the better matchup, that's what I'm playing. And again, injuries aside, I'm riding the hot hand. I'm riding the wave. Whoever got me there, that's what I'm going down. I'm going up with or down with on the ship with. That's how I'm rolling. So I'm not making a wholesale change because Michael Penix is available, because you're not sure what he's going to look like in his first week. We just don't know. He could light it up. He could look pedestrian. We don't know. So I'm not going to change out Bryce Young for him just yet, or something like that. Just to give a quick example. But if I've been rolling with Bryce this long and he's been getting me there, I'm gonna keep rocking. So what's up, Zach? What's up? So yes, I would definitely say that you definitely should just stand pat. Don't make any rash and stinker tinker type changes, and to frustrate yourself and cost yourself a victory. Just ride the train that what got you there. And if you have any question, concern about any particular players, please let us know. Throw them in the chat. But outside of that, I'm rolling with what got me to the dance.
Yeah, because I mean that's the other part because obviously like every league's different. So like if you're in a 10-team league, you're probably gonna have a little more thought you have to put into your lineup
True.
just because there's a little more surplus of players.
Yeah, you got more
than
time.
if you're a DZ in the gauntlet that is
Man.
40 people. I don't know. But so like, you know, it like the smaller the team are just the more options you have. Like I said, just make sure you're comfortable with those matchups. And usually with those, especially in playoff time, I like to just go see like who's playing who and where does that defense match up in terms of like how many points per game do they give up to wide receivers or running backs?
Right.
And I mean, that's usually, especially at this point of the year, pretty good sign of who's going to pop. Because, I mean, you got a 15-game sample. So,
right. What they can do.
Like,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think that's a good barometer by which they might give up points. I like that. So, again, if you're torn between, you got 3 receivers, you only can play 2. Say that you trying to figure out which 3 to play. Go look at the ratings and who give up the most points to those positions, and that's who you play. If you have to make decisions like that, but yet again, don't do any wholesale changes. Based upon the guys that got you there. That's for sure. That is for sure. So yeah, I like that. I like that option as far as looking at the ratings. But again, between the ratings and everything we've given you up to this point in this pod, that should be diary enough to tell you who to play and who not to play. We told you what the strength of schedules were. We tell you who got the best and juiciest matchups, who's the fantasy goal winners for the playoffs. So between the advice we give you and the teams that you have, take that in kind and get that victory for sure. So which 2 would you start this week? Pickens, Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr. Also putting my hair out between DJ Moore and Jennings for a flex start. Well, I'm starting Jennings off the rip. I don't trust DJ Moore at all. That's Pickens, Neighbors, and Brian Thomas.
Dude, I think I'm going Neighbors and Thomas, man. I mean, Pickens, so hit or miss.
It is, but if he does play, and that Ravens secondary is ass, just at least. I mean, that it is a divisional game, and I think he got beef with one of their corners too, so it's likely he's going to play hard. It would be my guess. So it just neighbors with that. It's rough. Like Pickens got the best quarterback out of the 3. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah. I know, but I mean, damn, Brian Thomas has been putting up points.
So I think we agree on Brian Thomas being 1. I think
they got the Raiders.
Oh yeah,
actually, well, I don't know, man. Raiders their defense is a little stifly.
Yeah, but he's getting off no matter who he faces. It seems like, and who his quarterback is. So yeah, I would.
Dude, I think you got to go Brian Thomas and Neighbors.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
I trust.
That's the vibe I'm rolling with.
Yeah. So Jauan Jennings for sure for me, Brian Thomas for sure for me, and I begrudgingly I would pick Pickens. I would pick Pickens, Brian Thomas, and Jennings. That's what I would do. But Alex likes Neighbors in this matchup. I think I would rather ride with Pickens in the quarterback he has. Yeah. So I love Neighbors too. This quarterback really worries me. That's for sure.
They do suck.
Yes, exactly. So I'd definitely leave DJ Moore out of the conversation altogether. He's out for sure. But yeah, I would definitely roll with Jennings and Brian Thomas for sure. And Pickens or Neighbors. You might not be able to go wrong with either one, but I like Pickens coming off injury, assuming he plays. Watch the injury report. Make sure he plays. Make sure he's good to go. They play on Saturday.
I was trying to see what's his most current status here. Let's do this in real time, dude.
Yeah,
I'm guy in the chair in this thing.
Right. Yes, indeed.
Turn right on Washington.
Right. Yes, indeed.
I
think they're doing a precautionary method with him last week. I think he could have played last week if he was thrust into duty, but I think he should be healthy this week. I'm thinking.
Said he sat out a walk-through practice today.
Oh, okay. Well, go with Neighbors then, just to be safe and just live with it because we don't know if he's going to play. And it's a quick turnaround because they play on Saturday. So.
And even if he does, he might fight the team and get kicked out.
Well, that part too. Yeah, that part too. So we'll see.
Just saying, Zach gets it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a PPR league.
He gets the newsletter.
If it's a PPR, he does. If it's a PPR league, I get it. If he gonna get the targets, that's for sure. But will he get, how much will he do with those targets, and what kind of position would he be in the game is the only question I have. Yep. So yes. So I think we agree that Jennings, Thomas, and Neighbors, I think that's a move. We're not sure about Pickens. So yeah, I would go with that and be well and come back and let us know how you did. For sure. Appreciate that. But yeah. So yeah, that's our advice segment for the week, and hopefully that between that and all the advice we gave you throughout the pod, it will help you get your lineup set and get you that best possible matchup that you can get out there on the field and get you that victory for week 2 in round 2 in the playoffs. All right, so to round out the show, we can do our perfect lineup segment, and this actually will help you as well, guys. We think that are guaranteed to pop off this week. They have really good favorable matchups, and these are guys we think that if you had to pick a whole entire perfect lineup, you pick these guys, and you should have a great week. So, getting into my perfect lineup to start, a quarterback, I'm going to go with Joe Burrow against Cleveland. I mean, Joe Burrow just been money. I mean, it doesn't matter who he's facing. His defense is awful, god awful. So they can't win games, but he definitely put some numbers. Him, T, and Jamar all seem to be productive. So I like Joe Burrow going against Cleveland. Jahmyr Gibbs is the lead dog now in Detroit going against Chicago. So I like him. I like Bucky Irving going against Dallas. That's a good matchup for him. I think what they're going to do, I think they're going to do with Jamar, they did last week. They're going to roll coverage to him. So I think T. Higgins is going to get a lot of targets this week again for the second week in a row. So I like T. Higgins in this matchup. Brian Thomas Jr., I like him in another wide receiver role against the Raiders. Trey McBride, another good week against the Carolina Panthers. I like him. I like James Cook in my flex going against New England. The Green Bay Packers going against New Orleans is the defense, and Chris Boswell is kicking against the Baltimore Ravens. So in that slobber knocker, one thing is true, no matter how the game tends to side, which side it lands on, it's always good kicking in that game. So I can guarantee that Chris Boswell should have a good one in that one for sure. So that was my perfect lineup. So if you got any of those guys in your lineup, I think, or you're on your team, start them, and you should definitely be doing well in this week in the playoffs. And moving over to Alex's perfect lineup, this ought to be a good one as well. I like his. He stole some of mine. I had to pivot off a couple of mine. He stole a couple of mine.
Yeah. Well, the first one, like I said, a little bit of the low hanging fruit there. The guy scored as his average 45 fantasy points like the last 3 games. So Josh Allen against New England, I think he continues that trend. Josh Jacobs against New Orleans. I think I almost damn near put the entire Green Bay lineup in here.
You tried.
But then I was like, we can't do that. But yeah, Josh Jacobs against New Orleans. I think he really goes ham in that game, kind of like he did against Seattle. James Conner against Carolina, I think, picks up where he left off in week 15. Yep. I guess the other side of the coin to coaches' guess, I got Jamar Chase against Cleveland. I mean, either way, Cleveland's defense is pretty bad. Yeah. Myles Garrett, who knows what he's doing with his eye injury. It's booty cheeks. I love that. Booty cheeks, baby. But yeah, Jamar Chase.
Don't have any players on there. That's what
in fact, we know Cleveland, they're going to give up points. We know Cincinnati's going to throw. I think arguably both of them can pop off this week for all intensive purposes there. My second wide receiver, Mike Evans, continuing to do, what he did in week 15 against Dallas. At tight end, maybe a little self-manifestation for myself since the matchup's not totally kosher, but I got Kittle against Miami. Flex, I've taken a shot in the dark. I'm shooting the prayer out there with Romeo Doubs against Nolans. At defense, I got Minnesota against Seattle, assuming it's Sam Howell.
Yes.
And that Flores is just gonna go. Just make him want to quit football altogether, probably. Yeah. And then round things out, my perfect kicker, Chauncey McLaughlin, baby.
Yes.
McLaughlin.
Yeah, McLaughlin.
McLaughlin against Dallas.
So there you have it, man. So 2 good lineups. If you got any of those guys in your lineups and you have any ability to play these players, because I think even in certain leagues, I saw Roman Dobbs actually on waivers last week. So pick him up. And definitely slide him in there if you got an injury to a flex player or a wide receiver, and then you need a fill-in, because you should have a good week against Nolans and a bunch of other guys that we listed here. And if you got any of those guys in your lineup or you play best ball, go win you some money. That's all we can do for you. Go win you some money. All right.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Indeed. All right, so bam, there it is. We did it, man. It is a wrap for us on the segment parts of the pod. So we are at question and answer. So if you have any questions about your lineup, any last minute things or waiver wire questions you have, who you should pick up, who you should not pick up, this and the third, please, if you watch this live, throw them in the chat and let us know that you get those things answered right here, right now. If you need to reach us on offline after the show is over, if you watch this on replay, please drop us a line on Twitter or Instagram at LightningFastFF. That's LightningFastFF, all one word. If you need to email us, you can email us at lightningfastff@gmail.com, and we'll get your questions answered in short order there. Like I said, waiver wires will go in and be in effect Wednesday morning, so we should get that ready and going right now. And like I said, if you want your question asked on the show as well, please let us know that, and we'll get that done for you as well. So we'll be right there for you to get those questions answered and get you a victory this week. So like both lineups, Dobbs is going to score 8 points in the MVP. Alex, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yep. So yeah. So we'll hold a couple of minutes for questions. If not, we'll let you go back to your fantasy lives and hope you get a victory this week in week 2 of the playoffs, round 2, and we'll get you to that championship, man. And we'll be back next week. Alice, I think we're doing Thursday next week since Christmas is next week, right?
Yep.
We're doing Thursday next week, so we're not gonna do a show on Christmas, so we're gonna go Thursday next week. Just as a quick line drop, but we'll advertise that on socials as well. But yeah, but like I said, if you got any more questions, please drop us a line. If not, let us know offline, and hope everybody gets a good week of fantasy ball going down in the bayou, as they say. And we'll be back next week. All right. So you appreciate that, Zach, man. Always,
Thanks,
man.
Zach.
Appreciate that, buddy. Long time listener, man. We appreciate that. The love as always, Zach. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Indeed.
Absolutely.
I'm stressing about my matchup with yeah.
I'm looking right now, dude.
Yeah.
By the way, Peep It changed the team name. It's fitting. We're Zero Turdy now, but
Turdy. Zero Dog Turdy.
just straight ass. Oh, dude, DZ had a bye, huh? Oh.
He did.
Yeah, Keith went for 157.
I told you. He told you. He had.
I know, but it's just like one of those. It's just shock value every time you look at it. You know, you're like, damn.
Brutal. He had 120 before the Sunday games were over, I believe.
I know why DZ was mad at my list. This guy's got Mike Evans.
Oh,
Chiefs. Okay, but I mean, he got 23 points from Chiefs defense. DZ. That I can tell you as a Chiefs fan, it's not going to happen against Houston.
Right.
And his other ones, yeah.
Yeah, so he got a pretty good lineup though here. I think he had Joe Burrow, Jahmyr Gibbs, James Conner, Drake London, Ladd McConkey, Ladidi McConkey, Trey McBride, Jonnu Smith. He playing 2 tight ends right now. That's wild. But they're producing. You got Chauncey McLaughlin in the Vikings defense. He got a pretty good lineup there, bud.
He just once said 250 in Chuck E. Cheese that we're giving out.
That's funny.
I'm just kidding.
Oh man, Chuck E. Cheese tokens.
This is an IOU. It's better than money.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, be on the lookout for Keith though, man. He on the heater, man. That's all I can tell you. Because he got Jared Goff, Bijan Robinson, Joe Mixon, Mike Evans, Puka Nacua, Brock Bowers, DJ Moore, Jake Moody, and Casey's defense.
That's true. I guess that I was trying to give him the glass half full. I suppose looking at it, he also only got 5 points from Bowers last week.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yep. Indeed. Yeah, Zach. We run a fantasy league for the pod, man. If you want to get in next year, let us know, man. We definitely will welcome some new faces for sure. Definitely that. Yeah, man. Chuck and me has some issues. Yes, I bet y'all do. Okay, cool. So yeah, man. So that's gonna do it for us, man. As we round out this show. As always, we are here normally we here each and every Wednesday night at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, but due to the holidays and travel, we're here Tuesday this week and we're here Thursday next week, and then the final week we'll be back on Wednesdays. We'll be back on Wednesdays. I
appreciate you guys hopping on tonight, man.
For sure. Great viewership.
It's awesome, yeah.
Great viewership tonight, man. So like I said, if you need to reach us on socials, LightningFastFF on Twitter and Instagram, and youtube.com/LightningFastFF on YouTube. So drop us a subscription, drop us a like on the video, and definitely let us know how you feel about the pod. And if you got any questions, always hit us up, man. Definitely, man. So everybody in the chat that came through, we appreciate y'all, all the questions, all the banter, all the laughs. We appreciate that. And as always, we'll be back next week with another rendition of the Lightning Fast Fantasy Football Podcast. But until then, I'm Coach Defense. That is the real AG, Alex Givens. Until next week, we'll see you when we see you. Step up and lock it down.